Let's go. Yo, what up, what up, what up? Yeah. There it is. Hip-Hop Could Save America with Manny Faces. I am Manny Faces. What a coincidence. We're here rocking. We are starting the live stream. If you're just joining us, thank you for coming by and spending some time with me today. We've done this for a long time. This isn't new. I'm not new to this. I try to be true to this. We got some good discussion coming on tonight. We don't have guests tonight, which is just a weird coincidence. I got so many guests for the next like 3 or 4 weeks. Double guests, 2 guests tonight, all about how ways hip-hop can help save America, do wondrous things in the worlds of hip-hop and education, or hip-hop and mental health therapy, or hip-hop and business, or hip-hop and, all these different ways. And that's what we normally talk about here. But tonight, we're going to get into something a little bit different. So holler at me in the comments. This show is for the people, by the people, about the people. Smart discussion about hip-hop topics. Now, we don't normally delve into the gossipy kind of things that people are, talking about, but I think we will today. I'm going to talk about some things. If you are new to this, please stick around. Please like this, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video right quick. But if you're not sure, just hang on. Just hang on. You don't know what's happening yet? Hang on. If you're like, who's this guy? Hang on. We're about to kick it off. And it goes, y'all ready? It goes a little something like this. Hit it.
Manny Faces.
You sick for this one. Sick for this one. Sick for this one.
The thing about hip-hop today is it's smart. It's insightful. The way that they can communicate a complex message in a very short space is remarkable. And a lot of these kids, they're not going to be reading the New York Times. That's not how they're getting their information.
My hip-hop will rock and shock the nation. Hip-hop culture is more than music.
Peace to you and speak the truth. Show 'em what peace can do when there is for you.
My hip-hop will rock and shock the nation. Rap is something you do. Hip-hop is something you live.
So hip-hop didn't invent anything, but hip-hop reinvented everything.
This is Baby Girl Faces, and this episode is brought to you by
Didi. We wrote graffiti on the bus. If you see a name there, it means that you are helping support the show on my Patreon page, which I really appreciate. It's just a couple dollars a month. It really helps, keeps the lights on, keeps these things going. Super helpful. Also, by the way, the couple of names that were not mentioned include our newest patrons or Patreons, including Kath, Morgan, Patrick, and Chris J. We'll work you into the mix as soon as I get a little extra time. And then on the audio feed, there's an audio feed to this too, by the way. We put our interviews on the audio feed of the podcast, and we'll get Baby Girl Faces to say your name. I know that's very exciting. So I appreciate you. If you want to support the show, please feel free to do so. Say hi in the chat so I know you're hearing me, feeling me, tasting me, smelling me, that we're sounding good. Shouts to Flow Story in the building. Appreciate you for coming through. And of course, we're going to just have a conversation tonight. I want to create this space. Like sometimes we have guests and we talk to all the people who are doing like the great things with hip hop culture in areas like education or health and wellness or science and technology or politics and social justice. That's what this show is about. And normally it was sort of a podcasty, interviewee type thing, but we've made it more interactive. Now we're doing video. We've got y'all in the mix. We want to bring you in to the into the fold, as it were, to have these discussions in what I like to call an intellectual hip hop safe space. You know what I mean? And we had a lot of discussions today on Facebook. I didn't have any guests lined up for tonight, but I've got guests lined up. Literally, I think 2 guests a night for the next 3 weeks. So we're talking about hip hop educators, hip hop activists, teaching artists. It's a great lineup. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. So right now, like this, share this, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please let your friends know we out here rocking. And we're going to talk about these Grammys. Shouts to I Am Cool. I see you in the building. Appreciate you for checking in. This is a first-time visit for you, and I appreciate you very much. So thank you. But once again, tell your friends we're rocking. We're talking about this. I want to have this interaction with y'all. I want to hear y'all feedback. I want to spread that feedback to other people who might be listening. We try to take a nuanced approach to hip hop music and culture. We try to look at all the things that happen and think about it in some like intellectual ways. What does this mean? What does it mean for the culture? What does this mean for humanity? So please start putting your thoughts in the chat about the Grammys in general. Let's rock with it. I got some folks who might jump on with us visually, but I want to hear your thoughts. I basically want to hear on your hip hop mind tonight. I was just talking to my good friends Silent Night and Toast from the band called Fuse on their Twitch stream. Definitely check out Silent Night is busy on Twitch. He does some good streams over there where he's making music and making raps and all on the fly. Like you give him words, and by the end of the stream, he's put together a verse that's super dope. Collected all the words. It's just a fun, creative time. We do some trivia stuff over there, so check him out. But we were just talking about this and some of the things that happened over the Grammys. Throughout the day, there was Facebook conversations all up in the zeitgeist, and I wanted to kind of know from y'all. I wanted to hear from y'all specifically, whether or not this Grammy situation. We have this conversation every year after the Grammy, especially with hip hop, and I'm focused mostly on hip hop, R&B, sort of the black music genres that traditionally haven't always been gotten their just due. And obviously we had some things last night that happened in the Grammys that were both good and bad, positive and negative, And SK's in the building. I just mentioned you, sir. Shouts to you. Thanks for checking in. Let me know if you want to jump on or if those links I sent you are no good. And you know what? Honestly, if any of y'all know me and you want to like literally jump on the screen with me and have this conversation, just hit me on a DM, I guess maybe on Facebook. And I'll bring you online and we could do this. We could literally have y'all come up and talk. So let me know if you want to do that. I definitely want to know your 2 cents. I was talking to some artists today. And that was kind of the interesting angle I was going at today was the artist. Like, how do you feel as an artist, whether the Grammys are worth it? Do they matter to you as an artist? Do they matter to hip hop? We're in this weird dichotomy, this two lanes, these two trains of thought in hip hop where it's like, F the Grammys, they never treated us right. They don't really respect us. And even though they gave us some big party at the end of Hip Hop 50 last year, they're not for us. They're not our award show. Cool. So basically my question is, do the Grammys matter to those folks? They say, no, doesn't matter. Who cares? Doesn't matter. We don't need that validation. We don't need them. But at the same time, I hear from a lot of artists, again, some of them hip hop artists, some of them R&B artists, black artists, who are like, no, don't let, that necessarily fool you. Yes, they haven't done well enough for us over the years, but it's still important to us. The Recording Academy as a whole is important to us. And it is important that we make progress moving forward through the years. I wanted to call up Cormega's post. And again, give me your 2 cents. Let me know what y'all think about this. Cormega, of course, hip hop artist from New York. You should know, might know. And I'm trying to pull up the screen. Give me 1 second. I got a weird thing happening here. Y'all know I do this by myself, right? That's why when y'all contribute to it, it helps me get another person in the mix. That'd be great. Cormega said this, and I thought it was an interesting, 2 cents. Said, why is it right there? That's crazy. All right, let's try this. All right, there you go. I'm getting it. Come on, get one time for me. Cormega says, for years, artists in hip-hop have fought for recognition and even shunned the Grammys for what we perceived as slights. And now we have a moment when artists such as Drake and other superstar rappers get their recognition, but also artists like Nas, Black Thought, and Killer Mike are getting their recognition as well. Artists like Jay-Z, who once boycotted, are being honored. Change doesn't come overnight, but the slight change towards progression should be acknowledged. Artists that were once on mixtapes and are underground are now getting what greats like Rakim, Kool G Rap, Kane, etc. didn't get to experience. Progression isn't instantaneous. It takes effort and patience. Stop hating on each other. We already have so much hate against us in society. We need to applaud each other. Salute. And if you don't like what I said, question why it offends you. Salute to everyone. This is one aspect by Cormega, who is, of course, a recording artist in his own right, and has an opinion on it. And I thought that was interesting because we get a lot of the F the Grammys kind of attitude out here from amongst hip hop and R&B, like I said again, generally speaking, black artists who have felt, and folks that are, listen to those genres who have felt that over the years there's been bias. There's been a lot of bias. Now we know that the recording industry for years there was absolute bias. It was probably as racist as an institution as anything else. Labels were buying the awards, and artists of color and other, underrepresented voices weren't always getting their just due. So we know that this is a thing. This shouldn't be a surprise to us. Go away. So we know that it shouldn't be a surprise to us. But for some reason, it's now, it comes up every year. We talk about this every year. SK and Toast, you're in the mix. Let me see if I can see y'all in here with me. What up, y'all?
Heyo.
Look at this. Look at this beautiful scenery.
Studio too. Good, Joe.
Very nice. Very nice. Let me introduce to anyone watching. These are good friends of mine. They are musicians in their own right. They've released several full-length albums, a studio, what do you call it? A recorded, the live recording album, right?
Yeah, live album and live album and live concert movie, if you will.
Right, definitely, indeed. So, and again, toured the country, done some stuff all over the world. Y'all are actually probably the bulk of what makes up the Recording Academy. I don't know if y'all are voting members of the Academy or not,
Not voting,
but
not yet.
Right. But and I want to know about that. I want to know like how it works, how as artists that actually work in the field that could be voting, what makes that decision? When do you make that decision? What do you think about the Grammys overall? Tell me things as artists yourselves that actually make up probably the bulk of musicians in the country. They're touring or they're working or they're, kind of independent, not necessarily superstars. You're like the bulk. You make a living doing music for the most part, or at least a good chunk of it, and you're an artist, and then the Grammys come every now and then. Do you dream of being on the Grammy stage? Do you say it doesn't matter? Like, tell me everything.
Oh, no.
I'm putting you on the spot. I know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I see a lot of people that are like, yeah, everybody dreams of getting that Grammy. One day I'm going to get a Grammy. Like, I see people actually, on social media, like 70,000 people, not 70,000, but a lot of people talking about their future Grammys. On one hand, like I would always just be like, okay, like not everybody's gonna win a Grammy, of course, or even be nominated.
Right.
But at the same time, what's been cool is like getting older and doing music for a longer time and knowing and meeting so many people and working with so many people. Me and Toast were saying earlier, there's a bunch of people we know that have actually been nominated for Grammys now,
and some who've won.
That's right.
So it's pretty dope. So I would say it's in a way it's more obtainable in a way than some could think to at least be nominated. And for me it's kind of like what up, Jimmy Stevens in a chat too. But yeah,
hey,
what's up? Just as a music fan of all sorts for years, like. I think it's cool. It's not something that I necessarily like dream of or something like that. But I also don't like. I'm also not the guy like hating, for lack of a better word, hating on the Grammys every year or like talking shit about them and stuff like that. I like some of the music that I see on there, some of the performances, some of the winners, some of the nominees. Like I don't really watch it all the time, but every once in a while I'm like, cool. It could be entertaining for what it is.
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
I mean, it's obviously I think it's a huge deal, even just like commercially, or for promoting your career.
Right.
Getting a Grammy, I'm sure is a big deal. It still carries, I think, quite a lot. Although I think that in general, award shows, maybe more in the movies than music, but still, I think that the values got diluted by just the amount of award shows that are around, and it just becomes this thing. It's like every week there's some other award show going on, and I think that at least for me, it doesn't quite carry the massive importance that it did on that end, because it's just a little it's just too many of these things, and then I don't know, scarcity creates value, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's important to have a big show that's still like well attended, that promotes music, is important in an age where I feel like even though it's some is more, it's easier to do a lot of things in music or get published, but it's also very, very hard, I feel, to make a living through music. It's very, especially if you want to do live music, it's been a difficult period. So, seeing an award that brings, kind of attention to the music world, to the importance of it, the fact that it brings joy to so many people, like, as an art form, then I think that's good.
Yeah, I like that perspective. Obviously, we get, there's like the separation, right? There's like all the superstars and the, top level talent and, the big names out there, but there's also a plethora of, folks in the industry that this is still an important night for them. Sometimes they're not on television. I think it was Dolio, the sleuth from good friends over at Gangsta Grass, who pointed out on Facebook earlier, the idea that there was other things the Recording Academy offers. They offer grants, they offer, classes, they offer, programs and other things besides this one big awards night. And that if you look at it from a musician's point of view, yeah, there's politics, yeah, it's big names and you get drowned out by the attention, but there's still some benefit to the institution as a whole.
That's actually is definitely a good point. And another good thing of, besides the people, like we were saying, there's more and more people we know that are being nominated now, and some even winning. There's more and more people we know that are voting members. So again, it's kind of like that thing, and of course you might have people arguing different sides, meaning of like, can you change from within kind of thing.
Right. But that is the argument. That is the talk. That's the discussion.
Argument, right? Yeah. Because I know, and for what it's worth, like I said, and for me, at least, somebody who's already saying like, oh, I'm not really like talking ish about the Grammys, but like, in general, or for the most part anyway, but that I do think that's really dope, that there's peers or dope musicians themselves, writers, musicians, instrumentalists, writers, rappers, MCs, all types of musicians,
executives sometimes, also
executives, yeah. And how, like, and again, it's not like about like just people, but just seeing those people and those types of people that are like, okay, this is kind of cool then, because if anything, it might be evening the playing field a little bit, or having some more, dope or different perspectives in there as voting members. So that's cool.
Yeah, that representation from within. Now, when you hear some of the big headlines that hit all the blogospheres and news sites, where it's Jay-Z, for example, in his speech, I know you also only saw snippets of last night's show. Jay-Z, one of the big news besides Killer Mike, which we'll get into. One of the big news was that Jay-Z received a Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. That's right. Fun fact, a Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, some people might not know what that means. Nobody knows what that means. Anyway, so shouts to Jay Smooth, who's like, what does that even mean? Like, what is this about? Anyway.
I saw Radar or somebody.
Yeah.
Right, so
so he received this award, but in his speech, which was sort of off the cuff apparently, but maybe he had some points, sort of rallied against this long-standing argument. It goes back to, Kanye West saying that Taylor Swift had the best video of all time, that whole
not
thing.
Not Taylor Swift. He said two Taylors about Taylor Swift, right? That it was about Beyonce,
yeah,
right? Not
but Taylor Swift about Beyonce, right? So that Beyonce had the greatest video of all time. Jay-Z spoke in his speech, basically going against the Recording Academy, basically calling them out. Some would say in a revolutionary stance. I would say kind of dancing around it. I wasn't totally won over. But he basically said, look, some of this seems funny style going on. Like, okay, y'all know that Beyonce won more Grammys than everybody, but you didn't get this Album of the Year award to her. She got snubbed every time that she was up, four times that she might have lost. And there were a couple of those times when I think the general consensus is she got robbed or whatever the case. Now, some could say, listen, that's him riding for his wife, and that doesn't mean much. She it's subjective, right? These voting members, they vote, and it is what it is, right? It's all fair in love and war. But we do have an institution that has long, had a little bit of a history of not celebrating underrepresented voices, not celebrating, musicians of color, not celebrating culturally impactful pieces of musical art if you're not really familiar with the culture that it's, uplifting, right? That's a problem, right? That still exists in the academy as a whole. It obviously exists in society as a whole. And I want to know what people in the chat think about Jay-Z's comments about whether, that is something that we still need to address in the academy. And SK, like you said, is that something that can be, fixed from the inside? Because the academy themselves has said we have to do a better job of being, welcoming diversity and inclusivity. Now, as members of the recording industry, are y'all being welcomed in as recording members? Are y'all being sought out? Are you being recruited? Like, there's a lot of nuance here as to whether we want to increase the diversity of the recording of the voting block, but like, do people feel like it's not even, it doesn't matter? Are they trying to reach out to all the artists like yourselves who aren't voting members? Like, you know what I mean? Is there a real concerted effort happening by the Recording Academy? And is that something we need them to do?
I mean, to be honest, I'm totally ignorant. Like how many members make up the voting block of the academy?
That's an interesting question.
And what happens
Yeah, that's a good
basically,
question.
like how do people kind of come in and out? Like, is it a lifetime appointment? And then is it basically people drop off?
It's like the Supreme Court.
And then how do they get new ones get brought in? Yeah, right.
Right.
I think
I
that's
don't know the
how it is
process.
for the Oscars, for the Academy Awards. I think that's kind of that. Like, unless you decide no, once you're made a member, you vote for life.
Right.
But
Well, for the Oscars, for the Academy?
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
That's for the Academy Awards.
Gotcha.
But I don't know
If they're our boy was in here, Jim Steffens, right? I think. Are you a voting member? If there's any voting, if there happens to be a voting member of the Recording Academy, I'd love to hear you in here in the chat.
And
Please
is
give us
Dolio is?
some insight.
Oh, Dolio's not in the chat, right? He was in.
Dolio is. I was trying to get Dolio in.
Okay.
I also spoke a little bit with Jeffrey McNeil. He's known as the Phantom, and he runs a hip hop orchestra. It's really. I've interviewed him on the show. He's really dope. It's like
dope.
a whole hip hop
Nice.
orchestra thing. And he's a voting member. And he says once you become a voting member, like the mystery, the veil of mystery is lifted because it's kind of simple. You just get to vote. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out is, do all of the.
I'm seeing. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You have
I'm seeing
insight.
12,000 on. No, a couple things.
How many people voting? Okay.
I was gonna kind of answer part of what you were saying before, but I also just looked it up, just random Google lookup. It says about 12,000 eligible to vote.
Oh, the lovely and talented and happy belated birthday to the wonderful Yvonne Conforti, who just celebrated her birthday. Aquarius season, let's go.
Happy birthday.
It says 12,000 voting members. Jim Stevens says, I voted for years. Jim, so you're a voting member of the Academy. How hard is it to become one? What are the qualifications? We could be looking this up, of course, but if anyone has any insight, apparently it's pretty easy. If you're a bona fide recording artist or member or work in an industry that's connected to music, just sign up and be a member, right? That's all it takes.
Yeah, I to answer part of your question from before, I'm not being sought out. I haven't heard anything like being sought out to do it, and also similar to Toast, like I don't have enough information about it, but I feel like, and maybe this is just me assuming, but some of the people that I know that are on there maybe also decided or took it amongst the upon themselves to be like, let me try to be one of those voices or one of be on there. So I would say that for that part, like I'm not I haven't been sought out or anything like that. And what was the other? I feel like there was another part.
I asked like 30 questions, so don't feel bad.
I'm trying to remember.
I
swear I had another answer to part.
I have so many questions because all we get when we see like Facebook is yeah, Jay-Z was right, or nah, he throwing shade, or like these polarizing situations. But it's, as always, the truth is somewhere in the middle, and it's always nuanced. And I want to find out like how we can solve this problem. We know that hip hop specifically has been treated like crap by the Grammys since the beginning of time.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
That's that reminded me, I guess, part of what part of what it was.
No, go ahead.
I think it was that I was gonna say, like, I think it does make a difference, like having those new voices, those new faces, the new generations. to the pressure, basically. So,
Right.
you know, the same way, the same way.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's like showing the gap between us.
What do you have to say, invisible person?
It's like, wow.
It's like just zoning in on over here. Like, well, what I gotta say? No, yeah.
I'm working on it, guys. Go ahead.
Do it live.
Getting there. We'll
yeah.
do it live.
We're basically just saying.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Go ahead. We're doing it live, y'all.
Yeah. Just that, you know, like in a lot of industries and a lot of things, like the public pressure does make a difference sometimes, or a lot of times. You know, we see like either in some boycotts or either in some like, yo, why is the, you know, like you said, like people could make statements, and even if it's not genuine, even if it is performative to a degree, it could still end up making a difference by people saying like, damn, all right, well, like they're on our ass still about this. Like, let's try to actually make it a little more inclusive, or let's try to actually have more representation. Like,
but by its nature, it's always going to be behind the times, because it's going to take often years and years, but sometimes decades, to really kind of catch up, I feel, to what is like the relevant cultural movements, because as much as I think there's still bias and problems, I mean, obviously things have changed quite a bit. There are hip hop categories that used to be held. There was a time there were no jazz categories because it wasn't considered proper music, I mean, so all these, but obviously, especially with a rotation of members, if it's, I don't know how many new members you get a year. That'd be an interesting question. Like, how many new members are there a year? What's kind of the average, turnover?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Also, is it just musicians, or is it really like our members like record producers?
Yeah, producers.
That's it. So right. So float.
I thought,
and I think some of us are speculating, but
industry.
Right. I thought you could be, if you're just kind of associated in general. Flow Stories that says you have to be regularly putting out registered music and have sponsors. So maybe like someone brings you in. But, again, I don't know. It's interesting. Jim says you don't vote in every category. You could vote in 3 and then up to 10 categories in those fields. So that's interesting. So you can't vote. Okay. Because there's been some people saying, oh, the old dusty white men don't know nothing about, hip hop, but maybe they're not voting in that category. Maybe that's not a field that they would, be voting in. So Jim says further, he says, so you vote in your specialty.
Yep.
So yes, 12,000 members overall, but not everyone votes in every general category. Okay.
Oh, and true, the sponsors, he's saying you need referrals exactly to get in there.
Right, you need referrals to get in. Okay. And Jim further says musicians, producers, engineers, album notes. So you don't just have to be the artist. Shouts to my man Bob Knutson out in Wisconsin, Wisco. Bob Knutson. He even has his own sound to go with his name. He's very famous in the Manny Faces circles. All new genres take time to gain representation, but 50 years does seem a bit much. Rock didn't take that long. Good point. Now, hip hop has had a category since the beginning, but it even started off on a bad foot. For those who don't know, the first rap Grammy was awarded to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
I forget the year. I want to say 88, but I don't know if that's true.
Did you say it was the first since the Grammy started? No, right?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was just added in when that happened, but maybe I'm bugging there. All right.
What do you mean? As opposed to that's when the category came into existence, and they were awarded.
I thought you were saying hip hop has been in there since the beginning of the Grammy.
No. I'm saying, in other words, they haven't had that category or whatever until I think 88, and it was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Now that's where Jay-Z mentioned yesterday the boycott, where he's like they famously boycotted the first rap Grammy. And by 88, hip hop was popping. It was certainly becoming a force. Maybe, early 90s, it was much more undeniable, let's just say. But 88, you should have, if 88's the year, whatever it was enough of a thing where Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince said, we're getting the first rap Grammy, but you're not televising it. We're not going to be on TV accepting it. So we're going to boycott. Yeah. And even Jay-Z said yesterday, but then they went to a hotel and watched it. So not much of a boycott, right? Even though I disagree, I think not appearing is pretty boycotty. You know what I mean?
It's making a statement for sure. Yeah.
Right. Jay-Z said that he went on to do the same thing. He said, I took a page out of their book. And when DMX one year, rest in peace, DMX, wasn't nominated for like 2 #1 albums in the same year. Jay-Z boycott, and then he said, then I went, yeah. And then he goes, then I went home and watched it.
Which is 10 years later, right? Because that was 98 when DMX did the 2 albums.
Thank you to the great Murray Foreman. Murray Foreman, can I just give you one of these, my man? Murray Foreman is an if you know, you know, but I'll tell you about it a little bit. Right, 1988 as the source and Yo MTV Raps. So obviously, big things happening in hip hop world in that year. But what we did not get was the televised event. Now they subsequently did televise it. It was obviously one of the most, I guess, burgeoning genres in America. And what's really ironic is that Jay-Z referenced this boycott, the original one, while accepting an award, telling the Grammys that they still don't get it right all the time. And the thing that they didn't do, this is a personal bone to pick, this year, and they've done it in the past, but they didn't do it this year, when Killer Mike walked away, decidedly swept the rap category, rap song, rap performance, and rap album of the year. Killer Mike, great album. I actually think they got it right this year. I think for all the talk of the Grammys never get it right with hip hop, with Macklemore winning over Kendrick and blah blah blah, which absolutely they completely screwed. They got it right this year, but they also didn't televise it. So here we go after all this, and specifically, and people, you're gonna back me up in the chat, I know, because people have been talking about this all day. They were so excited to have a Grammy salute to 50 years of hip hop last year. They had a whole show, a whole thing. Like they shouted them out during the Grammys, little mini event, and then they literally did a whole, Questlove produced it. It was a big thing. And it was like the Grammy salute 50. And all of us, you could probably pull my video up from that time when I was like, all right, that's cool and all, but what are they going to do in Hip Hop 51? And not 1 month and 4 days.
the very beginning of the year.
Into Hip Hop 51. They were like, man.
They didn't air the hip hop album at all.
Man. Now listen, this is what I'm going to do for y'all. I think
didn't know that either. I mean,
they did not do that. They did not air it. It was actually announced hours before the real Grammys. You feel me? So just because I think it's important and I want to give him his due, I want to do this.
And the Grammy goes to scientists and engineers, Killer Mike.
Right? Because they didn't get this. Y'all didn't see this. No one saw this. First award of the night.
Where's my old lady at? Where my wife at? I'm not gonna take too much of your time. Hopefully I get to come back up here. I heard you guys clapping when they called my name, so I'm gonna take my shades off. I wanna say, I'm from the Southeast, like DJ Paul. I'm a black man in America, and as a kid, I had a dream to become a part of music. And that 9-year-old is excitedly dancing inside of me right now. I want to thank Loma Vista, Adam, Tom, Todd, Ryan, all of you guys. I want to thank my management company. My manager, Will, is active. I want to thank my A&R cuz, Lightyear. I want to thank everyone who dares to believe that art can change the world. So thank Dre, thank Future, thank Aaron, thank all the producers on here, but everyone in this room, it is our responsibility to keep using our imagination to shape and form the world. Thank you, and I hope it's not the last time I see you tonight.
It was not the last time.
It was the narrator. The Morgan Freeman voice comes in. It was not the last time you would see him. And then this was the clip.
Mike would go on to come back on stage 2 more times.
Now I didn't get the second one, but this is the one that everyone saw. They showed this a lot. So let me
Nope.
Let me throw this on. Why is it doing this? Let me throw this on here. I'm trying to give him his props to give everyone the hip hop, like, you know, experience that we didn't get to see.
It's too late. You can't tell me dreams come true. It is a sleep. It is a sleep. It is a sleep.
Decidedly more amped than the first one because it was a sweep by that time. Now, I'm going to let this one ride. I hope y'all with me in the comments. Y'all still listen. By the way, let me just say we're checking in with my man Toast on the left, my man Silent Night on the right. They're from the band called Fuse, very successful independent hip-hop fusion band from New Jersey. Primarily, I've rocked with them. I'm the DJ. You might have seen us in person when we've done some of our shows in New York, New Jersey, New Orleans. Y'all better let me know what's up, what's happening. Let's talk offline. But you might have seen us in person. But just super shouts to y'all as independent artists that are in this game for a long time and really doing it. I really appreciate your perspective tonight. I also just wanted to show, again, my job is to highlight the greatness of hip hop. And that usually means we have people on here talking about hip hop being used in schools or hip hop being used in mental health settings or hip hop being used. But today, it was hip hop. Killer Mike won this award. He had a great album. It was for sure deserved. And I just wanted to take my opportunity to show y'all something that y'all might not have seen. And this one's a little bit longer, but I want to give us this shine. You can go watch it on YouTube. I get it. Particularly if you know me, you're going to understand where I'm coming with this. At the end of this video, this is him coming out after the awards and speaking at the podium, right? The news conference, like hey, how'd you answer some questions from the people, right? And one of the things he does at the end is the one thing I'm saying that most of our OGs fail to do when they get the spotlight. And that is highlight other people.
Okay.
That's what I was going
to be my guest. You said, if you know me.
I should have done that. I should have done Let's see how it looks. I just want to give him his love, his song, his
best rap
his
performance
props.
and best rap album. All right. Going to kick off with our first question. All right, over there in the corner, please.
Hi there, Keddy All-Star, BBC Radio 1 from the UK. I'm over here, Killer Mike.
Which way, right or left?
Over here.
Oh, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Congratulations.
I think he got confused because over there they drive on the left. It's a whole thing. It's weird. Yeah, it's fine.
It is me. We disappearing over there. Man.
Trust me,
How you doing, black man?
I'm not too bad, man. Have you got enough space on the mantelpiece for all those Grammys you got there?
I'd build a bigger mantelpiece if I didn't, brother.
Of course, of course. Firstly, Killer Mac, for nearly 2 decades, you've been a household name in hip-hop. We've been familiar with how important you are to upholding the culture of rap music. But how does it feel to finally pick up awards on this scale and being acknowledged at such a platform like this?
It feels absolutely grand, and I want to encourage people out there that are chasing their dream. If it feels like you're slower, if it feels like some other people are reaching the finish line first or ahead of you, don't worry. Just keep running your race. Keep running your race and be grand in your plans. If you think you can jump 20 feet, convince yourself you can jump 40. If you convince yourself you can make 1 hit song, make 10 hit songs. The only thing stopping you, the only limitations you have is your imagination. It's our opportunity, it is our must, it is our absolute responsibility to be grand in every action. So for 20 years, I've been saying I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And in the 20th year of hip hop, here I am doing it.
Next, we're gonna go virtually to Radio 1.
Killer Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
Hashtag from Radio 1, phenomenal job. Just want to say this, I want to give you your flowers now. More importantly, you've been authentic in your music. You've been authentic in your activism. Why do you think it's important to continue to bring those two together and to reach people?
Well, one of my greatest influences is actually the woman named Kathy Hughes. And in talking to her, She let me know not only do you have responsibility to yourself to be the best you can for yourself and for your family, you have an absolute responsibility to your culture to be the best. So I want to thank Ms. Hughes for being that influence on me, and thanking everyone whose shoulders I stand on. The many, many entertainers who went unrecognized, the many MCs that went unrecognized, to the kids who dared to start a new art form in the South Bronx, and to the kids in the South who took that art form further. Just thank you all.
All right, we have a question right there in the back. Please identify yourself.
Fathom got the juice, DTLR radio. Killer Mike first. I want to say congratulations to you, sir.
By the way, shouts to DTLR radio. That's some, if you know, from like the underground, like online radio networks, like doing the underground hip hop work, hardcore. Shouts to them.
Happy for you. Secondly, with this culture right now in Atlanta, what does it mean to you to get the sweep in Black History Month at a time like this?
Well, Atlanta, to me, is the capital of Black America. I think all Black people and other people should be celebrating Black History Month because it is for us all. I think Atlanta's the mecca of the Black world, and people should be there and investing in there. And I want to say, as far as Atlanta rap, we do amazing rap. And I want to encourage other people to follow people like Kenny Staples, follow people like J.I.D., follow people like Nick Grant, follow people like Cuz Lightyear. There is a plethora of amazing lyricists. Rest in peace to two of them, Dope Boy Raw and my man Bags, that are just amazing out of Atlanta. We're not just one sound. We all don't sound the same, and we ain't all just doing what you think we're doing. And that's what makes us so amazing. So whether it's Kenny Mason or The Baby or Killer Mike, whether it's Outkast or T.I., whether it's Jeezy or Bankroll, rest in peace, we are giving you a plethora of styles that you should be listening to, and you should come to the city and enjoy yourself. And when you come, stop by my wife's restaurant, Bankhead Seafood, and get some fish.
Come on now.
We have 2 more questions, one right here, and then we'll take one from over here.
So again, that's what I'm talking about. Mention names of artists you don't know, but are from the A and doing their thing and put you onto something. Like so many of our OGs fail to do that. I was so happy when he did that. Man, he's a real one for that.
Right here.
Yes.
Jonathan Lange from Associated Press.
Hey, brother.
How's it going, sir? You pointed out after winning both of your awards about age and about that. Can you expound on that a little bit more, and why you really wanted to point that out?
There's no limit on the age to hip hop. I remember being in the 4th grade, they said it wouldn't last 2 years. I remember being in the 8th grade, they said it wasn't a real art form. I remember being in the 12th grade, my homeroom teacher tell me it'll never happen. And here it is 30 years later, look at it happening. The only thing that limits you is you. The only thing that limits your age is not being truthful about your age and what are you doing at your age. At 20 years old, I thought it was cool to be a drug dealer. At 40 years old, I started to live with the regrets of the things I'd done. At 45 years old, I started to rap about it. At 48 years old, I stand here a man full of empathy and sympathy for the things I've done, honest in my interpretations and where I've been, and it connected with thousands of other people, and I'm grateful to be holding these Grammys today on their behalf.
One last question from over here.
Hello, my name is Mark Thompson with Digital Music News and Open on Sunday, also out of Atlanta. People have said that your album is refreshing and back to real, true hip-hop. What do you think when you hear those type of compliments? And is it just you being you, or did you consciously set out to make an album that people would say is back to real hip-hop?
I consciously set out to make me the best MC in the world. I consciously set out to make the best album in the world. I consciously set out to tell the story of a young Black boy growing up in the west side of Atlanta so that the world can see that our narrative isn't just victimization and losing, but we can win, we can thrive, and we'll prosper. And I'm confident in saying today we're going to be right back at your ass to do it again next year.
Thank you.
There it is. One time for Killer Mike.
Yo, man,
Now-
I had a question for you too.
Yeah. It's allowed. The judges will allow it.
Did you see the other nominees for Best Rap Album, and did you hear all of them?
I did see them, and you know what? I wanted to have all that up so we could go through them.
I can read them, but yeah, if you want.
Yeah, dude, go ahead if you want to. It's quicker than yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it was Michael from Killer Mike, which obviously was the winner.
Yep.
Because it was a sweep. And it was Her Loss, Drake and 21 Savage.
Right.
It was Heroes and Villains from Metro Boomin.
Right.
It was Utopia from Travis Scott.
Right.
And lastly, King's Disease 3 from Nas.
Yes. Now,
another
I'm
vet.
sure another vet who drops
I mean, the vet on this list, I guess. The vet on this list, yeah.
True. And I guess that's where the subjectivity. If they'd given it to Nas, could we have been mad? Nah, I mean, mad is subjective, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, probably not. Yeah.
yeah, personally, like, it's fine. It's Nas, you know. And by the way, Nas has had a great run, and he's gotten his accolades. And I think that, you know, he got a Grammy. Yeah, he got his Grammy. So this goes back to Cormega. This goes back to Cormega's point that, like, to even have like you know, Nas, you know, and Killer Mike in the categories. Now look, Drake is going to be Drake, and you know that's going to be a top album. It's going to be nominated. There's no question. But there would have been a time, and I'm stretching the limits of speculation here, but there would have been a time when, listen, Ice Spice got nominated for, you know, best song or best rap, you know, one of the best song categories. Now, you know, there'll be a purist who'll be like, Ice Spice doesn't make, in the same category as like Billie Eilish, who had an incredible song. Like, you know, her song was really, really good. Like I'm a Billie Eilish fan. I'm sorry. Yeah. That song's incredible. Like, these are songs, and Ice Spice had a cool song that everyone liked, and that's great. But is it artistically on the level? No.
Did Billie Eilish win?
She did.
Okay.
Billie Eilish actually won Song and Record of the Year, which was a little bit. Baby Girl Faces made a prediction. She was predicting that Olivia Rodrigo with Vampire would win over Billie Eilish, and she was, you know, it was her first time.
Billie Eilish song?
What Am I Made For? It's from the Barbie soundtrack.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
An incredible song. She performed it, and like, I slept on it. I was riding with Baby Girl Faces. Baby Girl Faces was like, Vampire's dope, and I know that's a dope joint. And she was so funny because we were like, she was like, one of the songs. She's like, no, it's overrated. And she's like, by Miley Cyrus. So she's like, nah, it's mid. It's, you know, it's whatever.
It's mid.
And she was trying to decide, but she was like, Billie Eilish, I'm sorry, even though you make like sad songs and like really deep, I just think Olivia Rodrigo is going to get it. And so it was her second choice. You know, she was almost right, but it was her first Grammys. I'm not even going to, like, the fact that I watched it with her. This is a side. I'm going to go a quick aside. I watched the Grammys. I told Baby Girl Face doesn't know about the Grammys. She's 9 years old. So I told her yesterday, like on a whim, it's like 7:00. I'm like, oh, you know, the Grammys come out tonight. She's like, what's that? I'm like, you know, it's like an award show for all the music, you know, folk. And she's like, oh, like excellence in music? I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like they give awards and da-da-da. She's like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was like, you want to watch it with me? She goes, I don't know. I was like, there's a lot of performances. Like, and she likes Olivia Rodrigo. She likes, she loves Billie Eilish. She likes, who else was on there? She loves Ice Spice. Like, she's like, you know, the pop stuff. It's cool. But I'm like, but you know, watch it with me, and so I could like start telling her about, oh, who's this person? Oh, why is, you know, Annie Lennox singing Sinead O'Connor? Like, look at these are the artists who have died in the last year. Here's who Stevie Wonder is. Let me explain to you. Stevie Wonder's been around. Like, we had this really great like intergenerational thing going on throughout the whole Grammys. So I thought that was super valuable, and I think that like there's so many people who be like, I don't even watch the Grammys. Nah. I'm like, you got kids though? Because in that moment, she was able to tell me like why she liked Olivia Rodrigo's song over Billie Eilish's song. And I got a little bit of an insight as to how my 9-year-old girl looks at the world. And I thought that was super valuable to me as a parent.
Word.
And then she was able to listen to me tell her who Stevie Wonder is.
Yep.
Who Billy Joel is. I mean, who Annie Lennox is. Who Sinead O'Connor was. You know, who Tony Bennett was. Oh, Tony Bennett just did an album with Lady Gaga. She's like, what? Like, to get her interested in the vast greatness, to watch her see Tracy Chapman, who sounded and looked phenomenal, by the way. If you ain't seen nothing else from that whole Grammy show, Tracy Chapman coming out with Luke Bryan, who covered You Got a Fast Car on the country tip. They came out together, bro. Tracy Chapman is a goddess. She did the damn thing, and my daughter got to see it. So
Dope.
I'm being a little bit of ranty right now, but if you not, like, don't tell me your kids don't respect the elders, and you're not doing the, you know, the thing where you could actually have them watch the award show with you and come to like some kind of common agreement. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I mean?
Dolio's
up in here. Oh, he's checking in. I told him to come and join us, but he's like, nah, I'm working, but I see you.
Okay.
You sneaking in.
Checking in on the chat though. Yeah.
Right. I wanted to make sure his comment was seen. Go ahead, SK.
Amazing. No, I was reading the comments. Such an amazing bonding moment, and I agree. I definitely agree. What I was gonna say just was just kind of reminding myself or looking at the last few winners of the best rap album, and I'm like, damn, it's actually the last 5 years look pretty damn good to me.
Right.
But and I wasn't sure. I don't really watch them like I said that much, but I wondering people. I mean, people always have, I guess, arguments to say like,
Right.
did the best album win the best, whatever that means. But
Right.
but yeah, the last few years was Kendrick, Tyler, the Creator, and Nas.
It's a good album.
Like they all won one for the last
Right.
few years. Yeah. Or
Right.
just interesting.
No, again, going back to Cormega's point, like maybe it's not where it needs to be. And I certainly get that there's implicit bias like all through the organization. But as Dolio said to me earlier, and why I wanted, I say in peace, we're all friends. Like actually everyone knows each other here. It's like a cool little triangle of folks. Dolio, your comments to me, my man. And they're on my Facebook page. So if you know me on Facebook, please do check it out and I mentioned them earlier in the show, how, your perspective as an artist, as a voting member, and someone who's saying, listen, hope all's not lost. You know what I mean? Yes, this organization has been not always kind to Black artists or to even just not the superstar artists, right? The people who deserve it, but maybe one level below that just can't crack that. You mentioned, sir, all the other benefits that the Recording Academy gives to working musicians, grants and programs and such. The Music Cares, which you pointed out, said you don't have to be a member of to take advantage of. To be able to be a teacher and to contact the Recording Academy and saying, hey, can you bring instruments into my school? Can you bring people who can help the young people in the classes, like, get some beneficial musical, programming into they do all of that. So I don't want us to throw out the Recording Academy, baby with the Jay-Z, Beyonce bathwater. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot to be said there about what can be done. However, they have not always, been culturally aligned. And I think that's important to make sure that that we continue to push them on, like you said, SK, like, can it be changed from within? And to keep doing that, keep pushing that, keep having these conversations, keep joining the ranks of the voting membership.
Yep.
There's a train of thought that says it's not our awards. I'm talking about mostly, like I said, Black artists or underrepresented artists who says it's not our awards. We don't need their validation. And I get that. I really do. Like, I understand and sympathize with that. And then they say, well, we should have our own. This is what they always, we should have our own. And then someone will be like, what, like the BET Awards, which is owned by a corporation, which isn't, owned by y'all. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the VMA Awards.
There was the Source Awards, like you said, BET, But yeah, I feel
yeah. So go ahead, Toast.
I had a couple questions, but one is like, but who, for example, who decides which segments get televised? Because I feel like that's not the membership, and that's a big thing, right?
Yeah,
like for this year, that's another aspect of like what gets promoted then versus the voting. Where the voting is, the 12,000 plus members, and it's real like, and then like Jim was explaining, like the categories you pick. But who, for example, this year decided to pick that the rap categories wouldn't be televised?
Yeah.
And the second question I had is, when you play Vampire for Baby Girl Faces, do you play the version with the curses, or do you play the version that's PG where they change the chorus?
Oh, do they have both?
There's two, yeah.
And and before you answer that question,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
questioning my parenting up in here. Okay, go ahead.
I'm curious. I want
But
to
same thing
learn.
about if you want to learn
tell
about
you.
the parenting. But the Grammy, like 2, 3, however many hour televised thing, and they don't air the hip hop part, like you said, right after Hip Hop 50.
Right.
That is kind of wild. Yeah.
Right. And if you really watch the whole thing, I would have, this is no shade. I mean, I guess it is shade by default. I would have easily replaced Travis Scott's performance with airing the Hip Hop Award. Like Travis, I think Travis Scott is great. And I was hyping him up. Like, oh, Travis Scott put on a hell of a show. Watch. And then it was kind of not a hell of a show.
Oh,
but that's just me personally. And I'm like, dang it. Like, and again, my job is to make sure that hip hop is uplifted every time it's shown to the general public, right? And I thought Travis Scott was fine, but not all that he could be. And I you know, and the fact that it wasn't televised, the winning of someone like Killer Mike, who made a really substantive album, right? The stuff that, you know, we want the world to know that hip hop can still do. Listen to him talk in his speech, the age, the substance, you know, do it. And then Murray Foreman mentioned here earlier, I can't call it up, it's too far back. But like even they downplayed Killer Mike's political activism.
Oh yeah, I saw that comment too. Yeah, that's true.
Right. But okay. To know that Killer Mike won this album and you're like, oh, I'm not sure. Let me listen to him and then listen to the album and then follow him as an artist. And now you get turned on to his political act. It didn't have to be overt. It didn't have to be all up in your face. You know, it was still a nice introduction to an artist who literally goes to city council meetings in Atlanta. I saw Killer Mike. I met Killer Mike. I've been in Atlanta for a minute. You know me. I met him at a conference at Georgia Tech or one of the Georgia State University, GSU. And it was about rap lyrics being used in court trials. And the authors of this book, right here, Rap on Trial, Race, Lyrics, and Guilt in America, were there. And look at this, forward by Killer Mike.
Yep.
So if you were there, you got to hear him speak about his work in that area. And I'm saying, oh my God, what a great win for hip hop to be on this stage.
Yep.
But not to be televised?
Yeah, not to be televised. Crazy. Before you answer Toast's important questions,
Yes.
also want to give a side shout out to our boy who you shout out many times, Kemba.
Yes.
Because there's a new show coming out on Paramount Plus, I forget, but on a streaming site that he's a part of that's about exactly that. Lyrics, using lyrics, rap lyrics in court. Yeah.
I wanted to, it's so amazing that I haven't heard from him in a while. And then all of a sudden he's like a consulting producer on this. And he's like a star of this documentary kind of, shouts to big shout. One time for Kemba. And as we love to do, shout out people you might not have heard of. Kemba, Kemba, like Kemba Walker, the basketball player, but not the Walker part. His name is Kemba. I'm going to highlight that. I actually have a real cool clip trailer of another movie to show tonight, but I don't have that one. Okay. So first of all, station ID. You're tuned in with Hip Hop Can Save America with me, Manny Faces. It's a live stream show. We also have a podcast. When we do interview, this won't make it to the podcast because it's just too long. But normally we have guests. We talk to people who are using hip hop in innovative ways to help uplift humanity, educators, mental health professionals, teaching artists, community folk who bring hip hop to these other areas. And so when we talk about the Grammys, we don't talk about the tea, right? We don't talk about the salaciousness and the gossip. We talk about how can this be used to benefit society in general, and more specifically, the communities from whence hip hop came. And that's the kind of vibes we're on over at this show. So thank you for joining us. Please share, like this video, share it, comment, say something in the comments. Keep the YouTube algorithming. To answer your question, and we're here by the way, live every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. This is my friend Toast and my friend Silent Night from the band called Fuse. Silent Night also works with me. Toast also, the band called Fuse, and Silent Night have worked with me on a hip hop and social justice podcast that we put together, which actually is journalism through hip hop as journalism. It's a whole nother thing. It's wonderful. So these are good, talented, wonderful brothers of a big crew. There's more. Where's everyone else? They're around. We'll get them all back together. We'll get the band back together. Shouts to the band called Fuse. To answer your question, Toast, I have never shied away from any of my children. I got kids ranging from 33 to 9, and an assortment of children. I have a Whitman sampler full of children. And none of them, I've never shied away from playing the authentic as the artist created them versions. So I do play the curse versions of the songs. She's 9, so I try to, but she's gonna look, they got phones, they got tablets, they're gonna hear it anyway. So if they hear it from me, it's fine. There's literally a song called Mia Khalifa about the porn star. And not about it, but it's interspersed. And she plays it. And I've stopped her several times, like, okay, hey, I don't like that song. Can you change it? She, okay, no problem. Dad, no problem. And she changes it, but then it seems to keep coming back. There's nothing we can do. We've learned this for many, many years. We were listening to songs when we were 10, 11, 12 that we had no business listening to. And my kids grew up on, put it in your mouth and my neck, my back. And Lil Kim used to be scared of the dick. But then she put her lips to it and everything was fine. So I think we'll be fine. All my kids are college graduates, are working hard, or doing wonderfully, and I don't think it destroys them. I'm a little bit hesitant, but I know they're gonna listen to it anyway. But what I love about her is, we will have those conversations. We will speak on it, and I'll say, here's why I don't like this. Here's why this is no good. Here's what I'd rather you be checking out. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. Now she's gonna find and discover her own stuff. We can't be with them 24/7 with social media and access to electronics. But if we plant that seed and that foundation, they're going to be all right. The kids going to be all right.
Sure.
Cloud9 shouts, we love you too. Thank you for checking in tonight. I appreciate you. Yeah. Jim, thanks for checking in, giving us that insight. I'd love to talk to you more about your involvement in the music industry. We have a lot to talk about, SK, right? We got some things in the works.
Let's talk. Let's do it. And go Knicks.
Yeah, and go Knicks. Hell yeah. I didn't put on my Knicks. Oh, I got my Doom. Look, I got my Doom. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. Knicks Nation. Shouts to Yvonne, who says, the Mia Khalifa song is problematic, but it's a dope beat. What you going to do? What can you do?
Who song is that?
That's, I don't know who sings. Okay. I don't remember who it's by. Murray Foreman, once again, if you're still in the building, thank you, sir. Murray Foreman. I just got to say this right. I haven't put this out. Murray Foreman is the original editor and creator of That's the Joint, the Hip Hop Studies Reader. This is a formidable tome, indeed, and it is used in college courses all over the world. This edition, third edition, came out in November, edited by the great Murray Foreman. Also, Mark Anthony Neal out of Duke, who, if you know hip hop and African American studies and everything, Mark Anthony Neal is one of the GOATs. Regina Bradley, Dr. Bradley from here in Atlanta, who covers Southern hip hop like nobody's business. Had a whole course and a whole book about Outkast and all the things they did. And what's amazing about this book is a collection of academic texts that are used in classes. This is a third edition. It just came out in November. There's a section on page 747. This book is huge. This book is ridiculous. This is like the book in Charmed that had all the spells. Why do I know that?
Charmed.
You're not gonna call me out for that? On page 749, there's a section of selected bibliography, films, and podcasts. And in this is the seminal text. That's the Joint. It's used in college courses all over the world. Podcasts and newsletters. Beehive ATL TV on YouTube. Bottom of the Map podcast. That was Regina Bradley's podcast about down south. NPR's Louder Than a Riot podcast, which is a fantastic podcast about the intersection of criminal justice and hip hop. Hip Hop Can Save America podcast. What?
Hey-o.
Come on, let me do one of these. What? Come on.
Yes.
The Center for Hip-Hop Advocacy newsletter, which is also mine.
Hey-o.
Hip-hop. What? One more time. So, I had to shout it out.
It's a sweep. Oh, it's a
sweep. It's a sweep. Thank you, Murray. Thank you, Dr. Neal. Thank you, Dr. Bradley, for putting this show in that book. And thank you, SK and Toast.
Thank you
for rocking with me tonight.
Bradley.
Anytime, brother.
Thank you, Manny. Yeah, we're gonna slide out and be in the chat though.
That's what's up
for the rest of the show. Thank you for having us. Thank you everybody in the chat too. Hell
Keep
yeah.
doing what you do, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for your insight as super duper dope musicians that I love rocking with. So thank you for letting me be in the band.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
It's literally, I made my dreams come true. I love y'all.
Manny joined the band 2 years ago.
It's so amazing. I know, but still, it's a nice thing. It's cool. Y'all are dope. I love y'all. All right, y'all be safe. All right, peace and love. So once again, it's your man, your mellow. Manny Faces rocking with you. Hip Hop Can Save America. We're gonna close this out, but I want to show you two things first. I shared this on by the way, follow me on first of all, if you like this, please like and share and subscribe. Just real quick, share the video with your people who's like it, share. Thank you to everyone who's been checking in this. We had a lot of people in tonight. I couldn't get to all the comments. Again, Cloud9, Murray Foreman, Flow Story, Yvonne, we had Dolio, of course, checking in from the great Gangsta Grass. Gangsta Grass dropping new stuff. I had a great interview with them a few years ago. We're going to bring them back into the mix. If you're watching on the replay, you'll see all the great gems being dropped. Ada here's, of course, Ms. Thursday, new season of Beats Per Minute podcast that I closed the season out with last year. We're looking forward to that. My good friend Ada, Ms. Thursday from out here in ATL. And follow me on social, Instagram, Manny Faces Official, and on Instagram and X, Twitter, I'm Manny Faces. So I put this on my Instagram the other day. Just want to shout this out. This looks fantastic, and I can't wait to see this. This is a movie trailer. I don't know if y'all saw this. I like to bring y'all things that I like to call hip-hop news that isn't about dumb-ish. It looks like this.
Hip-hop news that isn't about dumb shit.
And what I saw drop this week, and I figured if y'all haven't seen it by now, y'all should see it. This is called A Hip-Hop Story, and it's being brought to you by Affion Crockett, the comedian, and also John Ollie. John Ollie from the New York independent hip-hop scene stars in this movie, and it was really great to see him. And y'all should, if y'all here, you're going to like this. If you haven't seen it already, check it out. We'll be right back, and then we'll close it out.
It's nothing like the down home blues. Who's next? Give him the number one. The number one?
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm one of the pioneers of hip-hop. We were living large.
I come out the house and I choke everybody on the block. I will write lyrics, brother.
If I tried to hand you this pen. Hip-hop was alive and well.
Hip-hop is dead. The game is trash right now. These whack MCs are brainwashing these kids. Everybody in the street doing this stupid doodle dance.
What is that?
Meanwhile, we got lyricists who built this, working at Burger Joint.
Salt and Pepper's here.
Salt.
I love hip-hop, but I hate rap.
And they don't respect the OGs no more.
Hey, get somebody taller to stock these Johns early.
We gotta bring real hip-hop back. I'm in.
In one ear and right out the other.
Jay? What are you doing here, bro?
Hip-hop needs you.
Now you show up after all this time?
We got some white women with some really fat asses waiting for you.
Okay.
Hip-hop, a bebop, or wobbity bamboo.
Look at my shoes.
That's why I became the pawn for others.
Slit my mom's throat with a pair of scissors.
God damn.
I can't. I can't. Get out of here, SK. You're not here anymore. What's wrong with you? That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. There you go. I'm going to tell you. A Hip-Hop Story, Affion Crockett's new movie, coming out February 23rd. A complete parody of everything that we talk about with such reverence. We try to protect the culture. And he just destroys it with one ridiculously wild parody. It looks fabulous. It looks fun, says Bob Knudsen. I agree. We're going to check that out. And again, John Ollie from my past work in New York City, in the New York City hip-hop scene, independent artist out here doing this thing. That's what's up. So I really appreciate that. SK brought up a great point about, since we're looking at trailers, let me see if I can find it real quick. Another friend of ours, an amazing artist who I followed and rocked with when I was covering hip hop in New York City. This young man, who was young at the time, was literally one of the dopest MCs that I was seeing come up in the game. And at a time when everyone was kind of saying, New York hip hop didn't really have that vibe anymore. It was all Houston and Atlanta and different parts of the country. And I was covering New York hip hop for Birthplace Magazine, a publication I created and rock with. Kemba was one of the dopest MCs and a really cool cat that I thought everyone should pay attention to. So I wrote him up a lot. I covered him a lot. And in the last couple of years, not only is he dropping new music, but he has come out with this. And I didn't know this was a thing. And just a few days ago, I realized that this was a thing. So I want to share this trailer with you. This is called As We Speak, Rap Music on Trial. It's a topic I want to get into on this show, and I want to get into it in depth. There is a problem with rap lyrics being used in trials as evidence. We see it happening right now in the Young Thug trial down in Atlanta, where they're allowing it to happen. And when you, this goes back to the whole Grammys things, when you don't have a cultural understanding or the nuances of linguistics and cultural references and such, these things can be taken to the wildest of extremes and be used in a prejudicial manner. That's the big fight against rap lyrics in court. Now, some people will say, hey, if you admit to killing somebody in your song and you put it up on YouTube, then you're an idiot. That's just how it goes. But it's a slippery slope, let's just say, when you start allowing rap lyrics into evidence in court proceedings. It's obviously racist undertones there. There's cultural misunderstandings, and it can really be prejudicial against freedom of speech and freedom of art. So the other side of that, of course, is that in the trial for against the man who allegedly killed Jam Master Jay, which is happening in New York City. Interestingly enough, this happened a long time ago. By the way, I saw that Run DMC documentary on Peacock that I told y'all about last week, and it was fantastic. So if you didn't see it, go see it. It's 3 episodes. It's a great documentary. Jam Master Jay killers are on trial in New York City. The judge has ruled that rap lyrics cannot be used in the court. I guess of the alleged killers, which I'm okay with. I think that if you're able, you should be able to prove a case without relying on lyrics or, snippets of lyrics or, cut and pasted lyrics or misunderstood lyrics or misinterpreted lyrics. So I'm okay with that. Now they're doing it in the Young Thug trial. It's a whole big thing. Again, the book, Rap on Trial, if you want to learn a little bit more about it, you might have your first impulse reactions to how lyrics as evidence, should be or should not be used. I welcome you to read this book. It's called Rap on Trial, to give you an understanding of why, in my opinion, using rap lyrics as evidence is highly, highly problematic. So they wrote the book on it, literally. And again, forward by Killer Mike. So check that book out. In the meantime, check out this upcoming, this is a Paramount Plus production with my man, Mamelo. I love this guy. I'm so glad to see him shine. I could go back 12, 13, 14 years, and I wrote a thing, and I said, this guy right here, watch this guy. And so I love when I'm right because I'm selfish, but I'm also happy for the kid because he was like a kid back then. He's a grown man. I'm happy for the man. This is a good friend of the room, and this is the trailer to As We Speak, Rap Music on Trial, which I think will do a good service toward this topic. Check it out, y'all.
The conditions shape the culture, then they focus on the symptoms. Make a profit off, make a mockery of, then lock you up for lyrics.
Rap lyrics are playing an increasingly prominent role.
It's the First Amendment right to freedom, igniting a national debate among attorneys.
These trials affect rap artists and typically stem from racial prejudice.
The criminalization of hip-hop is not new, it's an old tactic.
But I'm storytelling in a song. You gonna use that against me?
Every song, every lyric, every video that you've ever been involved with, they're gonna use against you.
They're gonna say it's you. You are a killer, and we're gonna lock your ass up.
If they don't have evidence, what are they gonna do?
It's not about justice.
They spliced the lyrics of 2 different songs together, so I was found guilty.
This artistic expression is a confession.
They're taking all of my music as evidence. The only thing I feel like I would want to do is music. So how are you trying to stop me doing that?
We can criminalize rap all we want, but that's not going to resolve the issue.
And if we lose this case, who's next?
This is how it is being us.
Don't help your enemies destroy you.
I'm ready. Roll the tape.
I am so ridiculously excited for this. It's obviously a, horrible topic. It's not something to be like super excited about, but I love the topic being explored. I love the topic being shared. there's a general concern. I've heard from people who are rap fans, hip hop, all the way, all day, who will say, listen, man, these young kids are stupid enough to, admit their crimes in their music. Well, they get what they deserve. And it's deeper than that. You could understand all of it. And at the end, come to the same conclusion. That's cool. But understand all of it. Rap on Trial. This book right here. Okay. And as we speak, Rap Music on Trial on Paramount Plus coming at the end of the week, at the end of the month, featuring my man Kemba. Obviously, Killer Mike is in that as well. And it's sort of it looks like it's a documentary / dramatization, right? They're mixing. They're making a movie, but they're also, talking to real people about real things. So I like the way it's looking. I think it's a super important topic. And as everything that we talk about on this show, there's nuance to this stuff. There's layers to this, says Shrek. You know what I mean? We have to understand that when it comes to hip hop, it's not, look, this whole world is becoming divisive and, pushing you in your corners. If you don't like today's hip hop, you can't throw today's hip hop baby out with the mumble rap bathwater. There's so much being made today that's amazing and artistically wonderful. And we could say F the Grammys, but there's actually some value to paying attention to the Grammys, watching the Grammys. Like I said, I had a great time with my daughter, kind of showing her who's what, who's who. From your generation, you let me know something, I tell you about who I know, and we rise together, as my friends from the band called Fuse would say. There's some benefit to that. Jay-Z can preach about Beyonce not winning album of the year. That's cool. But Cormega's right in that we've seen advancement in how the Grammys have treated hip hop. The new chairman or whatever has been very vocal about trying to increase diversity, increase underrepresented voices. And we have to give them time to make that adjustment and to see how it works over time. As SK pointed out earlier today, my man Silent Night, the last few years of best rap album have been, traditionalist purists, people who look at the artwork as opposed to like who's popping, would say this has not been a bad run in the last few years. Now, they don't televise it, so now we still got to keep pushing their buttons, but that doesn't mean we throw it all away. Do we need validation? Do y'all need validation? Who am I? You look how I present, I can't say it. Do y'all need validation from the Grammys, whether they're not your award show? You can go to other places and get validation, but the Grammys are the Grammys. And to my man Dolio and Jeffrey McNeil, who's also the Phantom, has pointed out, the Recording Academy gives artists a lot more than just awards once a year. They do probably a lot more for the art of music making than BET, VMAs, MTV, maybe even Soul Train and Essence and all the other like award programs. The Recording Academy does a lot. They got museums, they give grants, they give programming. There's a lot to take advantage. The Music Cares program, there's a lot to take advantage of. So I don't want to throw out the Recording Academy baby with the snubbed Beyonce bathwater. Like there's nuance to these things. Let's try to figure out ways to not say F the Grammys, right? Because we miss out on the fact that Killer Mike had a really impressive run. Now, he gets arrested or detained because of a brief confrontation with a security guard, misdemeanor battery, gets released the same night, and he's partying and having a good time. But that's as always, the negative, whatever negative tidbits they can get is what gets broadcast. If we're saying F the Grammys and not emphatically doing what I did tonight, which is to show his acceptance speech, which is to show his red carpet press conference, which is to point out the fact that he named other Atlanta artists that you should be aware of that weren't him, that aren't like paying him to say it. We need to be doing that collectively, or else we're not helping the cause. Saying F the Grammys and pretending like they don't exist, I don't think does hip hop justice. I think that talking about it and saying, listen, we had some great nominees from across the spectrum, from the Drakes and the Ice Spices of the world to the Killer Mikes and Nas's of the world. And we haven't even gone down the whole list of nominees. We're just talking about the ones you know. And Jay-Z, yeah, he made a little statement. It wasn't the, emphatic revolutionary statement a lot of people make it out to be, but he said what needed to be said. I'll give him that. What's going to happen, right? What can we do? What can y'all do? If you're a member of the recording industry, you can become voting members, or do we just give up and say, nah, we don't need their validation? I don't know. Cormega said a lot of good things where he said, we've made progress over the years. These folks are getting the accolades, and you could write it off if you want. But if you're a Grammy nominee like Coco Jones or SZA, a Grammy winner, that gets you more paper, that gets you more bookings, that gets you bigger venues, that gets you more press. And so when SZA, who I think is phenomenal, wins, and a Killer Mike wins a Grammy, that means something. That means something. So yeah, Miley Cyrus, okay, whatever, cool. You know what I mean? A couple years ago, Harry Styles is winning, and you're like, you beat Beyonce. That's crazy. That's not right. Beyonce was so good with her Renaissance project. Fine, I get it. But don't discount the fact that SZA won yesterday. Killer Mike won, right? Nas was nominated again. We're seeing progress. But I'm just a guy that says, I'm giving y'all both sides. What I know for a fact is a lot of people who could be voting members that are from underrepresented communities aren't. So, like Dolio said, like The Phantom said, become a voting member and let's change this. Let's continue to push the progress from the inside and really make it happen. We don't need a savior. We don't need Jay-Z to come. I mean, he was the guy that was supposed to change the NFL. How's that working out? You know what I mean? So, longer story. And Jay's great and he does great things, but that's not the end all be all when somebody comes on and says what he needs to say in that space. There's work that has to be done. No one's going to come and swoop in and save us. So my job, again, is to make sure that hip hop is represented in the best way possible. And that's what I try to amplify. So that's what we did tonight. I appreciate the conversations. And I appreciate everyone who joined us in. Who are we talking about, Yvonne? Who should I leave alone? Oh, Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus is great. I'm glad she got her first Grammys. Miley Cyrus has been doing music for 20 years. I don't know if you're talking about Miley Cyrus, but I'll give Miley Cyrus props. I'll give Taylor Swift props. I think Taylor Swift does great music. I think a lot of people connect to what she's doing, and she's great. And yay, let her be. I'm giving Miley Cyrus props, Eve. No problem. But I'm saying that there are people who are like, oh, there's better art being made. Okay. But, join the party. Put in your votes. There was an article, I'll say, such a Mila Machenko, who's a dope vocalist and a dope person. And Mila put out a thing. I don't know where she got it from, but it also said that some of the people who vote in the voting for the Grammys didn't vote for Beyonce in some voting in the past. They were like anonymous, but they like had a survey, right? Of people. I'm not going to tell you who I am, but I'll tell you how I voted. And they said, listen, Beyonce wins everything. She won 32 Grammys or whatever. And so they were like, we're not going to vote for her for everything because she wins everything. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think it should be voted on the merits, right? But there are people who are saying, I can't vote for her for everything. Oh my God, she wins everything. And she does, as Jay said, most Grammys ever. If you don't like that, then become a member of the voting block of the Grammys, the 12,000 plus, and make your voice heard. Other than that, let's not get caught up in the extremes here. Should Beyonce have won Album of the Year at least once, maybe twice? Absolutely, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion. Does that mean that the Grammys don't have a benefit toward young artists? Again, Coco Jones, SZA, what was the other young lady? Victoria Monet, right? Is that her name? Victoria Monet? Money Long. Like there's other people that are getting, that are absolutely who we want to get shine, that are getting shined on. So just want to say it's all good. There's a lot of discussions happening. Let's just be a little bit more nuanced of it. I wanted to provide, we got so many guests coming up in the next few weeks. I got hip hop educators. I got poets. I got people who are changing the game in their local communities. I love it. I love them. I'm so glad y'all rocking with me. I wanted to create a safe, intellectual hip hop space for us to talk about these things and not just get all like me, like how we do on Facebook sometimes. The nuance is lost. It's communicating. It's dropping in the chat. It's y'all rocking with me. It's having guests on. So thank you so much for rocking with me tonight. We're going to head out. It's about an hour and a half. It's kind of like what these shows seem to be kind of ending up at an hour and a half. So once again, shouts to everyone who joined me tonight, man. Silent Night and Toast from the band called Fuse. Yvonne Conforti Eve was in the mix. Flow Story, appreciate you so much. Bob Knutson, thank you for rocking with us, man. Thanks for checking in. Jim Stevens gave us a lot of drops, a lot of gems. If you go back earlier, you'll see that he gave us a lot of insight. He's a voting member of the Academy. He's a working musician, and he has a lot of insight on there. Murray Foreman, the great Murray Foreman, Northeastern University, great hip hop scholar. And yeah, man, I really love the discourse tonight. So next week, if you want to know, oh my God, it's going to take me a minute to do this. I don't know if I can do this in time. I could probably do it in time. Next week, I'm going to tell you who I got. I got guests for the next 3 weeks. It's crazy. Next week, Tony Keith, who is an amazing dude. He's a poet. He just wrote a book, but he also has a whole hip-hop education thing going on. We've talked to him offline so many times. I'm really excited. Dr. Adia Winfrey has been a hip-hop scholar, but also has run for office. She's done some political work, integrating hip-hop and politics. That's going to be a great interview as well. The Murray Foreman, who I mentioned before, will be on us the following week. And Randy Swigum will be here to talk about, and I'll leave you with this, y'all. If you're in Atlanta or if you have a computer, you can check me out. I guess if you're watching me, that means like you kind of dig what I'm doing. So I appreciate you. You can check me out in two places. You go to mannyfaces.com at any time to check out my upcoming calendar of events or whatever. But I'll be keynoting this really cool event. It's called the Hip-Hop Pedagogy Virtual Music Educator Workshop. That's online. If you work in music education, or if you love hip hop on a sort of elevated level, like trying to do good things for like young people in areas outside of entertainment, like really trying to use hip hop as a way to uplift lives, I'll be keynoting this great workshop. It's on my calendar, mannyfaces.com. And then following that, if you're in Atlanta, this is dope. I'm very happy to be a part of this. I can't make the picture big, can I? I'm trying to make the picture big for y'all. It's a hip hop and justice panel. I'm on a panel. It's called The Intersections of Hip Hop and The Intersections of Social Justice and Atlanta Hip Hop. Now, I've only been in Atlanta for a couple of years. I'm super honored that they would put me on this. We've got some great panelists on there as well. Samaya Ali, Yamil Little. I've been watching these two folks do work out here. Christopher Daniel, Manny Faces, that's me, and Bame Joyner, my man Bame Joyner. If you're in Atlanta, if you know, you know. There's no way you could be in Atlanta and do anything of artistic importance and not know who Bame Joyner is. He's out here. He'll be on that panel as well. And we'll be sharing some insight about hip-hop and social justice. Now, they've been in Atlanta. They know about hip-hop and social justice in Atlanta, but I do Newsbeat podcast. I do a lot of work intersecting hip-hop and social justice. So I will hopefully have a few things to say, like I did tonight. A lot of talking. A lot of gems. If you're just tuning in now, please catch the replay. If you've been rocking with me the whole night, please make sure you like this video. It means a lot when you just hit like and you hit share and you make sure you subscribe, you turn notifications on. We're here every Monday, live 9 p.m. Eastern time, but sometimes I'll drop a pop-up video here and there. We take all the interviews, not tonight, but all the interviews will be ripped and put onto the audio feed. So if you prefer the audio version of just the interviews, you can get that at hiphopcansaveamerica.com. You can sign up for the wonderful hip hop newsletter. If you like this stuff, I send out all kind of stories like this. It's at mannyfaces.substack.com. If you haven't signed up, please do. Thank you so much. Eve says we had a dope convo tonight. Jermaine Charles is on the check-in. I appreciate you. I'm going to put this in here. Again, the newsletter comes out when I get to it, but it contains all kind of stories. I think that's right. mannyfaces.substack.com. If not, just find it. It contains all kind of stories like this. Obviously, we have some upcoming events that you should know about, which I try to talk about every show. If you're still with me, especially if you're in the education realm, I'll share a couple things and then we can be out of here. I appreciate you for staying with me. I want you to know the Hip Hop Youth Research and Activism Conference is happening Saturday, March 16th at Fordham University. You can look up HHYRA Conference on Instagram. I'll put it in the chat real quick. I can't wait till I can afford someone who could do this stuff for me. But that's a great conference for young people. They're usually first-year college students, second-year college students, and they are putting together this conference. It's hip-hop, it's activism, it's research, and they put the conference together. It's super inspiring when you think that young people don't get hip-hop culture anymore. They're also looking for performers. It'll be happening at Fordham. It usually happens at Rutgers. This year it's at Fordham, March 16th. So if you're a local New York, New Jersey rap artist and you do the kind of music that you think a academic conference focused on hip hop research and activism, that's the vibe, then you should contact them. My good friends up at Harvard, this hip hop at Harvard, y'all. The 8th annual Can't Stop Hip Hop Conference, May 3rd and 4th. Calling performers and presenters of all ages. I've told you about it for a couple of weeks. The proposals date is closed, but it's a great conference to attend if you're in the education space. And I don't just want, you think you hear academic conference and you hear colleges and you say, oh, well, I'm not a professor. I don't do research. So I'm not. Listen, I want practitioners. We love when practitioners, I've been at this conference. I've worked with them. So we love when practitioners come so that you can see that there's that 1 foot in the academic space, 1 foot in the practitioner world. We need artists that now can take their background and knowledge of hip hop and translate it to the academic space. Sometimes the academics are really good at it, but they're not practitioners. Shouts to Aisha Upchurch, of course. She runs this whole thing and she is quite the practitioner, the dancing diplomat, Aisha Upchurch. But we welcome practitioners. Say, listen, an academic conference about telling stories of healing, joy, and progress with and through hip hop. That's my vibe as an artist. Contact the Hip Hop EX Lab. I'll put the link in the chat as well. And get involved. Come up to Cambridge, May 3rd and 4th for the 8th annual Can't Stop Hip Hop Conference. And that might be it that I have. The FinFest maybe. When's their cutoff? When's their cutoff date? I'm not sure. Doesn't say. There's a thing called the Hip Hop FinFest. If you have middle and high school students, they could write a song. Hip Hop FinFest is organized by an organization called Pockets Change. And what they do is they teach financial literacy to young people through hip hop. And in conjunction with my good friend Martha Diaz at the Hip Hop Education Center, they've put together this great, contest where if you write songs, if you're middle-aged, if you're middle-aged, just middle-aged rappers, like 40-year-olds, you might write middle school and high school students, they can, you can win some prizes. And again, it's for the cause of learning financial literacy through hip hop. So that's it. That's what I got. I got more coming. Please sign up for that newsletter, because whenever I come up with things, I add it to the newsletter, and sometimes they don't make it to the broadcast, but you might want to know about them. I hit all kind of cities, not just New York and Atlanta. Wherever something interesting and innovative for hip hop pops up, I share it with y'all. So that's it. We went about 90 minutes. That's what I like to do. Great talk tonight. If you're just tuning in, catch the replay. This was all about, do the Grammys matter or nah? And the consensus is, it's just fine. I get it. That's what we were here to do. My name is Manny Faces. You can find me at mannyfaces.com. I will come to your location and speak about all the great things that hip hop can do to uplift humanity. I have professional development workshops for teachers and K through 12 educators. I will teach you how you can expand your business using hip hop music and culture. I can teach you how you can connect to your constituents. If you're a political person or a municipality, how you can connect better with your constituents through hip hop. It's all about authenticity. And as being someone who I am, it's that extra mile to maintain authenticity, that extra mile to make sure that I'm telling the stories and collecting all the stories of all the people who are doing the good work and representing them authentically and truthfully. It's something I take a lot of concern in. And so I can bring all those stories to you, all those folks that are doing that work, and then you can pick and choose and say, all right, get out of here, Manny. I want to work with them. I want to work with them. And I want to work with them because they're the actual practitioners doing this great work, helping improve society and uplift humanity through hip hop. Nobody's giving you this show, this kind of content like me. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Share, like, subscribe. We'll be back next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, I need a brain break. I love y'all. Once again, your man, Manny Faces. I think that's it. We out. Peace and love. Thanks, y'all, for rocking with me. I really appreciate y'all. We out.